friends, and welcome back. I wanted to pop in and not only say Happy New Year and give a little bit of an overview of some of the things that I have coming up for the year, but I also wanted to give you some advice about how to start your 2022 and also a helpful tip. So, if you've been following me, then you know for the past several months I've been moving. So I'm in my new digs, my new office. I am loving it. And you'll see more of my office, you'll see more of my house. I do have a studio that I've set up in my home, and I will do some videos from there. So I'm just going to kind of bring you into my world. And it really is my sincerest wish and hope that you all will partner with me on this journey. And we can kind of share. I can tell you the things that I've learned about life and about how I'm managing the process of being a human being. And I want you all to share with me. Give me your feedback. Send me your questions. I'll answer them live on camera. I just want this to be a group, a space of exchange, of love, of help, of productivity, of fruition. All those great words for 2022. I am wishing and praying that you all will find, and let's do this thing together. So, first off, a helpful tip. I have been struggling for the past several months in drinking the required amount of water. Now, my body chemistry is different, and I require a lot of water. I mean, on a good day, I can drink upwards to 80 ounces of water. And so, if you struggle with this, you know how difficult that can be. I mean, you're literally drinking, almost every moment of every day. And it can get a little bit challenging at times. And so, one of the things that I know that I must do for 2022 is drink water. And I need to drink a lot of water. And so, I had a system in place where I had a picture and I was pouring it and drinking it and pouring it and drinking it. But what was happening to me is around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, I would realize, hey, wait a minute, I didn't have the amount of water that I needed to have for the day. So then I was trying to rush and drink it, and I'm glug, 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 glug all night, and my husband is reaching over and slapping me like, will you go to bed? And then I'm using the bathroom because I'm trying to drink all this water. It was a mess. So I went online to try to find something that will help me keep track of my ounces. And this is what I found. And so you probably can't see the details of it, but here you have ounces. And so this one holds 64 ounces. And I can do good with 64 ounces. I do well with a little bit more. So I drink my 64 ounces, and then I have a smoothie that's probably anywhere from 10 to 16 ounces. I may throw in a cup of tea during the day. And so that will typically get me on tilt to where I need to be. But this bottle I love because it does have the number of ounces. But this is what really is beneficial. On the opposite side, and I don't know that you can see this, maybe not, but it actually has some cute little inspirational messages. It says 7 a.m. good morning, that's when you start. 9 a.m. you've got it. 11 a.m. don't stop. 1 p.m. says let's get it. 3 p.m. says keep drinking. So the little inspirational messages are nice, but what really helps me is that I can keep track of where I'm at during the day by the time. So if it's 11 o'clock and I haven't had enough water, this is going to tell me, you need to catch up. And so it's really beneficial so that by the time this says 7 p.m., 9 p.m. is just a tiny bit, If I haven't gotten to where I need to be by 9 p.m., I mean, it really is just that maybe 2 ounces or 3 ounces right there. I can drink that and still sleep through the night without a restroom interruption. But I highly recommend this. The name of the company, I don't know if you can see that, so I'm gonna tell you what the name is and then spell it, my big handprint there. It's called ViteScan, and I think that's how you pronounce it. It's VITSCAN. ViteScan. Get this. I got this on Amazon. It was relatively cheap. They have different colors. I got the black. I think I'm going to end up giving the black to my husband and getting like a pink or something a little bit more colorful. But this has really made a difference already. It is the afternoon. This says 3 p.m. and I am just a smidge above where I need to be for 3 p.m. So as soon as I finish recording, I'm going to glug, 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 glug and get down to where I'm supposed to be. Get it. It's everything. So that is the tip for 2022. A little bit of helpful advice. I have committed myself to several things for the year. And as we kind of get going into the months, I'll start to kind of roll out and share some of that stuff with you. But one of the things that I did just to kind of simplify some of the process and to keep track of it and just to kind of have a parameter that I'm working towards this year, I've identified 4 words that I'm going to be mindful of throughout the year. These are aspirational goals, if you will. These are reminders. These are the paradigm for this year that I'm going to try to navigate and govern my life by. And I highly recommend that you pick your 4 words. It could be love. It could be self-care. It could be kindness. It could be hustling, getting money. Whatever those 4 words are for you. I just found that 4 is just easy to remember. It's not too daunting of a task. I don't do New Year's resolutions. I tend to be a person that just I'm constantly in that state of growing and becoming more. I believe that that's what this whole process is about. Being a human being is not about our comfort. It's not really about our relationships. It's not really about our accomplishments per se. It is about the totality of who we are becoming. And so I have committed myself to that process years ago. So when New Year's rolls around, I don't really do New Year's resolutions, but I'm always mindful of where I'm trying to get to. And so I highly recommend that you sit down, that you get a journal, and that you come up with what your governing theme is going to be, and that you put that actually into concepts. And you could have more than 4, you could have less than 4. I was just sitting one day when the insight came to me, and my 4 words downloaded just with a lightning bolt. And I said, those are the things that you're missing right now. And to get to where you want to get to, you need to incorporate those 4 things. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what they are. My first one is grace. And conceptually for me, it's a big word. It means the way that I'm showing up in the world, the way that I'm carrying myself, my interactions with people, I want them all to come from a place of grace. I want those interactions to be memorable. I want those interactions to have a certain level of profundity to them. And so that word grace came to me. Sometimes I can show up in the world as a little bit aggressive sometimes, And sometimes that's warranted, don't get me wrong. I have had those moments in life where I've had to kind of get in that space and really show people who I really am in order to get things done. Sometimes when you're kind, when you're quiet, when you're nice, people will try to take advantage of you. And so sometimes I kind of pulled her out of the bag, if you will, when she really didn't need to come out of the bag. I'm just going to put it like that. And so for me, I just decided that I want to show up with a certain level of grace. And you all hold me to that. If you hear me on a podcast, or if you encounter me on the street, God willing, when COVID is over, and you see me acting less than gracious, pull my coat on it. But that's one of the things that I want to incorporate into my life. And the word grace to me also means extending a certain level of compassion or kindness or understanding to other people as God extends to me. And sometimes I'm looking at the world and I can be a little more critical than I need to be on certain situations, or when I hear certain stories. We are all on this journey together, and this journey is not easy for any of us. And so I just decided, I want you to, instead of jumping to the criticism first, I want you to extend grace. Now, if there's a lesson learned, a lesson that needs to be learned, because I'm all about truth and finding the truth and bringing the truth to you all, that's fine, if it's true. But I can start from the standpoint of grace, and that is my goal for 2022, is to incorporate that into my life for 2022 and beyond. The next thing that I want to incorporate into my existence is gratitude, for a couple of reasons, and I hope this resonates with you. One, it is good to be grateful for what you have in life. God's been very, very good to me, and I've had my challenges. I'll be the first to say that. I've struggled with a condition for a very, very long time, where my health just isn't where I would like for it to be. I'm on the tail end of that, thank God. But my life's been good, and I think that my life hasn't been easy. I'll put it like that, but it's been good. And I think that the mentality that I always had when I was younger is that life was supposed to be easy, and that life was supposed to be for my comfort. And I've since come to the conclusion that that's just simply not true, that life is for my own growth and development. And I can feel myself getting teary behind that. And that the challenges that we face are so that we can become more. Now, if we can become more without the challenge, that's even better. But we're human beings, and we are sometimes slow to get it. We are sometimes hard-headed, or sometimes we're selfish and we don't want to let go of things, or we want to be angry about things. If we could just grow on our own, then we probably wouldn't have as many lessons. And I've had a lot, because I have been obstinate on my journey, and I have been selfish on my journey. And so those lessons kind of show up to let you know, hey, over here you're out of pocket, and this is what you need to do, and this is who Spirit wants you to become. And so I've learned those lessons, many of them, and I'm still learning them. And I think that for me now, I've learned to kind of see those obstacles as it just is what it is. I don't give a lot of thought to them anymore like I used to. I don't ruminate. I don't spin as much as I used to. Now, I'm still a human being, so I'm not going to misrepresent myself. That's one thing I'm not going to do. I still find myself sometimes in a place of being a little anxious or worrying about something that I shouldn't worry about. But the difference for me now is that I am quicker to remind myself to let it go. And so life is what it is. And I can still find gratitude in the midst of the storm. And here's the trick, and we're going to talk more about this. To the extent that you find your place of gratitude, and there is always something to be grateful for, to the extent that you find your sense of gratitude in the midst of the storm, it is a spiritual principle. You're going to find that that storm is just going to wind itself down, and the sun is going to come out, and it's just going to move out of your experience. The longer you lament about it, the longer you resist, the longer it's going to hang around, or more things like it are going to show up. And that is what I've learned. And so gratitude is a spiritual concept, but it's also a trick, if you will, that helps you navigate the difficult times better, and keeps you from being stuck in the muck and the mire. And I did that for years, just one thing after the next, just all the time. And why is this happening? Yada yada. And so now I'm like, you know what? Life is what it is. And okay, I got to do this over here. All right, okay. You just keep going. And to the extent that you can find your sense of gratitude, I find that those situations, they just kind of come into my experience, and then they just move on. And that is because I no longer hold the resistance that I used to hold around certain situations. So I personally want to move through life with a sense of gratitude, not just because of what it will give me, and it will give me a lot, but because it is a natural state. We should be grateful. It is just something that should be a part of who we are. When you think about the magnitude of God, when you think about every day that we get up, the sun is shining, when you think about the majority of us are not hungry, we have so much to be grateful for. Why not? Why not just be grateful? And it raises your vibration. That's one of the reasons why it's such a valuable tool, is because if you just stop and think about all the good that's going on in your life, you're going to find you shift immediately from a dark state to a happy one. So that is one of my words for this year. Another one is faith. And faith and gratitude, they kind of ride shotgun together. I really want to start incorporating faith into my existence in a much, much bigger way than I've been doing. I'm extremely analytical, and I've searched high and low trying to find the answers to the universe, trying to unravel the mysteries around what it means to be a human being. And I've learned so much. Apologize, some mess outside my window here is a little bit distracting. But I've learned so much about what it means to be a human being. And being analytical, I sometimes lived more in my head about the concepts than I did more in my heart. And so when you think about spirituality, when you think about God and who God is, and I'm not going to get into religion and all that. Those of you that follow me know I don't do a lot of that. Whatever discipline you follow is welcome here. But for me, I refer to spirit as God, and it is something that is heartfelt. It is something that is very internal. And sometimes when you analyze so much, you can't feel the presence of God. I hope that makes sense. Like it's just a little bit of a different thing to actually have theory about spiritual things and about who God is versus actually having firsthand experience about who God is. And that's something that you feel. That is a heart place. And so when I think of faith being one of my words, It is me wanting to experience God more, just wanting to feel the presence of God more, as opposed to having the knowledge of who God is. And that's what makes me a teacher. But for me, I know that I can go up to a much, much deeper place in my experience of God. And so faith is one of my words. And another facet to faith is belief. And I really want to be someone that practices faith, that just knows. And like I said, they kind of run hand in hand, gratitude and faith. It's just when you're grateful, you have a knowledge, or you have a reliance on knowing that God is going to be there and that God is going to show up for you. And so that is a place that I want inside of me, like the fiber of my being. And that is only going to come from deep, deep practice, deep, deep understanding, deep, deep knowing, deep, deep relationship. And so that makes faith one of my words for 2022. And so my fourth word is discipline. I want radical discipline in my life this year. And so I've started to comprise schedules: when I'm going to clean, when I'm going to cook, when I'm going to do the videos, when I'm going to edit. One thing that I've come to understand about life as a human being, and hey, I didn't make the rules and I don't know why God set it up this way, but I do know that people that are extremely disciplined, they thrive in the world. God's world is a world of order. Sun rises and sets, within a 15-minute interval every day. The seasons come round the clock. Like, God is just a God of order, all the way down to science. And when I think of the concept of discipline, I also think of order, keeping my spaces organized, keeping a lot of clutter out of my workspace, out of my home. I think about committing to a workout schedule, committing to a workout schedule. I've always exercised extremely haphazard. I did it on Monday, but then I missed Tuesday. I did it on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, but then Saturday morning I slept in. None of that. It just creates chaos. And so I would find myself trying to sneak it in, and then I'm trying to cook, and then I'm not really cooking, or I didn't get a full workout in because I was going to burn my dinner. Nope. For 2022, I really want to be a person that practices radical discipline in my diet. I really need that. You put some chocolate in front of me, I'm getting ready to go to town. And then hours later, have a little bit of a tummy ache, or wake up with a headache because I had too much sugar. And so you lose time like that. Like, you wake up, you're not feeling well, you're not your best. I can't come here and give you all my best if I'm not feeling well. And so to be disciplined with your diet, with drinking the amount of water that you need to drink, all of those things just help you be your best. And when you're your best, you can give your best to the world, and you can enjoy life. That's the main thing. When you feel well, when your life is not chaotic, when your nerves are not frazzled, you just enjoy life better. So radical discipline is my fourth word. So I highly encourage you all to think about your own words, write them down, and commit to them. Those are mine. Feel free to steal them if you want. Come up with your own. Just make it a habit and a process to always becoming your best self, to be becoming more. So I think that is just about all I have for today. you're gonna see more videos. And actually, it came from a conversation with a dear friend. And she knew I had the podcast and she knew I had some things on the horizon. She called me and she said, "Hey, why aren't you doing videos?" And I said, I plan to do videos. I need a camera. I need da 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 da. I need the right lighting. I need the da 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 da. And I hung up the phone and I said, you know what, the time is now. And I had planned to do it. Like I said, when I moved here, this space is great because there is a actual room in the house where I can set up a little bit of a small studio. And so, I was going to get there. But when she said that, I hung up the phone and I said, what are you really waiting for? Are you waiting for the time to be perfect? Because the time is never going to be perfect. Um, you're always going to have something come up to tell you that it's not the right time. And so I tend to be a person that prides myself on just taking the leap. And let me tell you why I do that. I do that because I had a history of procrastination. I have a history of talking myself out of things. And so oftentimes I will put things out before they're ready. It may not look the best, whether it's a website or even my podcast is not exactly where I would like for it to be. But I have a history of just sitting and talking about something and never actually moving on it. And so that is a habit or a skill that I've developed over the years, is that when I feel myself doing that, to go on and kick myself off the ledge. And so this was one of those times. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna get the studio set up and I'm gonna go down there, and you know what, you got 5-10 minutes right now. The light may not be the best, the sound may not be the best, but as long as they can see you and as long as they can hear you and as long as you have good information, ain't nobody gonna really care. And so I appreciate her for having that conversation with me as I went through all the reasons why A, B, C, D, E, and F. When I hung up the phone, I said, Tanya, all those things that you talked about with her are true, but don't let yourself get in the way, right? If they don't respond, they don't respond. That's not your issue. Your issue is just to make sure that you're showing up. And so that's why I went ahead and recorded the video. And so I am grateful for her being able to speak into my life and noticing that this may or may not be that particular pattern. So extend me a little bit of grace. If you find that the lighting's not good or the sound's a little crackly, um, you know, yeah, it is what it is. So thank you. I love you guys. We're going to have a great 2022. I consider it a privilege to be able to come and talk to you and that you all will sit and actually listen to me. And I have just loads of things in store for you, things that we're going to talk about, topics, subjects that I know you're going to find beneficial. It is my heart's desire that you find your best life and live it fully. And you have my commitment that I will do everything within my power to be a part of that process.